we should do that too. When in reality, I think that a lot of businesses have this gold mine of stuff that they've done that can be, the term that I use, or the phrase that I use, is recycled, repurposed, or resuscitated. There was another R, recycle, repurpose, I don't know, resuscitate. There's a fourth R that I can't remember right now. But essentially, when you've gotten to a point where you're earning over six figures, you have clients, you have case studies, you have wins, you have failures, you have a lot of stuff to work with. And one of the biggest gold mines is, if you've already created a product and it did well, but maybe it didn't do as well as you'd like, reevaluating that product and seeing, was it a marketing thing? Was it a timing thing? Was it a price thing? There's only so many reasons a launch or a product will fail. The audience wasn't right. The message wasn't right. The sales wasn't there. A lot of times we're like, I'm just going to run ads and they're just going to come to me and it's going to be great. Yep. Sure, that works for Brendan Burchard or Amy Porterfield or Marie Forleo. But if you're not a big thought leader yet, there's still some work to do here.
Yeah.
And so, messaging, sales, price, audience. I mean, there's only so many things that impact the success or the failure there. So going back and saying, well, was it we weren't targeting the right people, or maybe we were targeting the right people, but we weren't talking about it in the right way that they understood, or maybe it really was a price thing and it was too little, and so people didn't see the value, or it was too much and it was too unattainable. And so, when you're looking at scaling or you're looking at growing your business, look at what you already have. There's so much content that entrepreneurs churn out every month. We're like content. And the truth is that a lot of that content could be repurposed to an ebook, or it could be used as a mini course, or as a free challenge, or any number of things. I mean, I had a client, she has this amazing thing. She's a speech pathologist, speech therapist, and she has this great blog called Playing with Purpose. And she talks about kids' toys and how these toys help your kid to have really great speech and communication skills. It's a fantastic blog. She took that blog and made it into a book. I mean, it was literally stuff that she'd already done. She just repurposed it into something else, recycled it, reused it. Yeah. And obviously it takes time because she had to get a graphic designer to design the book and whatever. It takes a little more time. But the point is that instead of racking your brain and saying, what's the next best thing? Chances are it's probably already in your business. You just need to figure out what it is and how to resuscitate it or repurpose it or something. And in that same vein, a lot of times your biggest gold mines are in, if you're not surveying your clients, definitely do this. Actually, for one of the products that I launched for a client, we actually have a question that bookends a question within the survey, and it says, what product, or it doesn't say what product, it might say what lessons or teachings. I don't know if he's a chiropractor, but it says, what blank would you have liked to see follow this? Or what do you think this was missing? Because he gets really great answers to that, and then he can take that little nugget and translate it into what we actually created, which was called Case of the Month. And people love it. Absolutely love it. And so probably, in the next 12 months, that Case of the Month will translate to a paid product instead of a free, valuable resource. And so, if you're trying to get from $100,000 to $500,000 to $500,000 to $2.5 million, chances are you have everything you need already. You just need to ask better questions and think more strategically about what you're offering and the value add to your customers and really what they want from you afterwards. Are you a teach and release kind of company? That's fine. Or do you want to give them something after they work with you that can support them?
So what do you have? Do you have products or courses that you can take people through in terms of repurposing? And resuscitate was a word that you used that I really quite liked. I think it's a good way, because it is we tend to create the stuff, don't we? And it goes out and then it sort of goes away for a while, and then we get on and do something else. And it is that resuscitation process, actually. How can people, do you work with people specifically around that as part of a process?
So yes, it's actually a very new service that we are offering. But I mean, there's a lot of different ways. Normally we're one-on-one for several weeks. We're project-based, but we do have different ways so one product we have is called a website once over. And we go over your website and say, here are the points that we think people are falling through, or you're missing XYZ. And so that's a really great way to just get a basic baseline of how your website's operating. But this product resuscitation thing is actually something I'm really excited about. It's I think the product actually is called the Gold Mine Mastermind, because again, we Gold Mine Mastermind. I think I said mind.
Gold Mind, or it's all right.
I don't know. It could go either way. But the point is that there's free money in a lot of businesses, because you've put the time, you've put the effort into these products or services. But I think it's something crazy, like 90% of the effort goes into creating these things and 10% goes into selling it. And that's probably why they don't actually do very well, because you do actually have to sell it. So if you can shift that to 60-40, 80-20, I mean, even another 10% to selling could be the difference between, having a 10K month and having a 15K month or a 20K month. And so, what we're calling it is the product resuscitation formula. And so, again, there's only about 5 to 7 things that could go and impact negatively a product's sales. And so we're looking at that. We have this really good idea of what's causing this. And so now we're looking at case studies to prove this theory that you've spent all this time to build this product or this service, whether you're an online thought leader or a coach or a consultant. It's just a little tweak here and there. And that's what I love about strategy, is it's really the most fascinating thing is it could be one simple lever that you turn on or you change that has an amazing domino effect of all of these other problems were really just symptoms of this one thing. And once you fix that, then all of these go away and you're like, okay, that was great. I mean, it's not always that easy, but in my 9 years of doing that, within reason, it's generally pretty simple. And it's just one or two things that once you change those, we can crack that code and get you moving again. So resuscitating things that have been shelved or they've been neglected is a really great and easy way to have a bump in revenue without having to go down that spiral of, oh my God, I have to launch a product. So we have to do ebooks and leads and ads and email, whatever. And it's just like, everybody knows that a launch is hard. So if you can resuscitate something you've already know is a proven product, I'm not saying that it will work if you haven't sold anything, but if you've sold something and you've, probably I'd say about $10,000 in revenue from this service or this product, chances are that you can bump it up with just a few simple changes.
Sounds good. And that's a brand new thing.
It's a brand new thing, but everybody that I've spoken to about it is like, oh my gosh, that's so true. I mean, it pops in their head, oh, I do have this thing that's kind of been, over here. We kind of launched it, kind of didn't.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because I think there is very much this this feeling in the entrepreneurial world that you have to keep creating something new all the time.
Right.
And you say by the time you've actually done the work to get to a 6-figure business in that way, as sort of a solo enterprise, you have probably created quite a lot of stuff already.
Yeah.
And how about then, as you say, I mean, the idea of taking blog posts and turning it into a book, you kind of think, well, yeah, I get there's other work to turn it into the book and there are other skills involved there. But actually the essence of it is you've already put the hardest part of the work in.
Yeah.
You've already done the thought. You've already done the research piece. You know it resonates with an audience because you know that people have downloaded it, opted in, done all those things already perhaps, but you've just not maybe done that final piece of the puzzle that we've been talking about, which is take them to the place you want them to go.
Yep,
and
exactly.
complete that part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So that's amazing. What other things should we think about from a strategic perspective, or have we covered it all?
Let's see. I mean, I think just from a strategic perspective, the best advice I have is to really, whether you're, like I said, a team of one or a team of many, you have to master your calendar. And I think that that's, something. So one of those pillars is operations and systems. When you can figure out where your time sucks are and what you do over and over and over again, like that's your first inclination that needs to be a system. And so you can just plug people into, because once you have the ability to free up your time because you have that system. So like for me, an example of that system is consultation requests. So we get a fair amount of consultation requests, and it used to be that everyone would, they'd fill it out, then it would email to me, and then I'd respond, and then we go back and forth like 50 times trying to find a time, right? And so now my questions are actually pretty long. Like you have to fill out several questions, and they're very key indicators of if this will be a successful partnership. And then based on how you answer those determines if you get a link to book a call with me or not. So, a couple of those questions would be, is your business profitable? Because I don't really work with early stage businesses. Now, if it's not profitable, the follow-up question is, do you have access to money to invest in your business, or do you have money to invest in your business? A lot of people that I work with come from having a bigger practice, and now they're going more into the online space. So they have something that's supporting it. It's just a new venture.
Yeah.
And then of course the one that gets you just straight out the door is, I have little to no money to invest in my business. That's like, I'm sorry, maybe you need to grow your business a little bit more, and then hiring a strategic growth consultant like myself would be beneficial. But so that was a system that literally now they go to our website, they fill this out, then it books a call, then my assistant follows up, does some research on them, we hop on a call. It's seamless. It takes me maybe 10 minutes. I think it takes my assistant a little bit longer to prepare for them, but it's something that has saved me exponentially more time to invest. And so if you can get really good at figuring out what your three things are, Darren Hardy talks about like your big three things that only you can do that make the biggest bump to your bottom line. That's huge. I've done some podcasts on this, but Sunday planning. So looking at your week and saying, if hell freezes over and I get nothing done except this one or two or three things, what are those three things? I also, something that I think really helped me that I learned from Todd Herman is daily themes. So, every day of my week has a theme. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are for clients and specifically new clients. And then Wednesday's my admin day, where literally nobody is on my calendar. It's just my day to get all of our stuff done, work on some client work, things like that. Monday and Friday have their different themes. And
like being part of a long weekend, of course.
Yeah. But like generally Monday and Friday, you can't book me unless you're a current client, because I do travel for clients. I also do want to make sure that I have a life and, that I'm not being a slave to my business. But I mean, on Friday, I have 2 current client calls. That's fine. That's really a spillover day for a current client because they're a priority. But as an entrepreneur, something that changed my business, which I think from a strategic standpoint would be really helpful is when I implemented admin days. So admin days are on Wednesdays because I felt like that was a good day to do it.